Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 212th episode of Book of Hours, our run through YouTube, playing as the artist. Now, I wanted to start off just by answering, I don't know if it's a frequently asked question, but a frequently thought question, I imagine. So one of the comments asked, basically, when is this thing going to be over? And we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the release of Book of Hours. It's definitely a much longer playthrough than I was planning on. And just to be clear, I know I've talked about this a little bit over the course of the playthrough, but it would obviously be ridiculous of me to assume that everybody is watching every single video all the way through. So I would just comment that as soon as you get Earl Bryan's field open, you are able to finish the game. Now, there are a few different ideas in terms of what finishing the game means and what counts as a satisfying ending. Obviously, that is up to the individual players, but one thing I'm a little conscious of is I don't necessarily want to give the impression that this is an eternal game that can never be solved. I have had the option of ending the game for quite some time, and if I wanted to pursue one of the, how do I put it, the major endings, let's say, I have been a little constrained by my lack of Hyksos and the fact that it took me a very long time to find the writing on the wall. That is actually something that I did not get in my first complete playthrough of the game. But essentially, once you have a Newman, that would open you up to a new, like a major ending, basically. So. And of course, we got a book that housed a Newman relatively early in the playthrough. I think we might have even gotten it before we opened up Earl Bryan's field. As the game says, but you can complete the game by recording any history. But I do have some specific things I wanted to do over the course of this playthrough. One of them was doing something that was specific to the artist. And so we do have the memory that comes out of the writing on the wall now. Although it wasn't a final understanding. But I've really been waiting on Hyksos. I would, if I can, I would prefer to get Hyksos and choose between the two Newman that are oriented towards the artist's ending. And there are, of course, still mysteries inside of Hush House, right? We're reading all of the different paintings, we're learning a little bit about the different characters, but for those of you that have been keeping the faith, there are actually a couple of things we haven't really dealt with in Book of Hours yet, which I think are actually kind of fun. So we will be addressing those in a bit. But let's focus on the current task at hand. So we are in spring. We are still in morning, or well, still the time is still morning. The third hour when the office of Tyrce was once was sung. Watch as the day opens like a door. And it is, it's been a while since I've recorded the last episode, so my brain, had the Etch-a-Sketch shaken. We are currently fixing and mending in the Sweet Bones. We are considering the Velvet. I believe we did that because we know we have a bunch of paintings to investigate in the Night Gallery, in Talia Berlot's room, or at least the one that she built. I don't recall what I was doing. We're making porphyrin. So it wouldn't be... And why did I put 2 fet in here? Interesting. Wouldn't be a bad idea for me to maybe make some more Ichor Auroral. So let's see if I can pull that off. I don't recall if... So get the Ichor Vitreous. I know this requires a bunch of rows. Apparently I don't have the 15 lantern yet. And presumably I would have learned if it was Uzalt. All right, well, let's just see. I'm going to take a quick peek at... I am really drawing a blank on some of these. Also, this feels wrong in terms of where it's laid out. I'm sure this will cause chaos for all my other classifications, but... Huh. You know, the better thing for me to do, so let's just take the Watchman, let's take the lantern. Hurricane Lantern. Or Hurricane Lamp. Proof against storm wind and moth swoop alike. And let's add a strong... Well... Is Old Moment really my strongest lantern I can bring here? That's a real pity if I... 3's slightly better. I don't think it'll take the Ashertine. Or, no, Ashertine doesn't count as a pigment, so let's put the Didymos in there. Okay, so this will be hopefully a little more interesting in terms of discovering lantern. Hang on. There's my powerful lantern. Yeah, so no huge surprises on a lot of these. That's a skill, not lantern. Looks like that's a sky one. That is, of course, still within my capabilities. I'm just maybe a little surprised. So we will reorient the memories. Let's do a Wind and Waiting and a Didymos. That is not sky. Okay, that's tough. Obviously, I don't want to give up the Wind and Waiting in order to be able to get the... Like, actually, I should be doing this just to double check. So yeah, like I said, I'm rather surprised at some of these. I would have thought something like Glacierian Lightsmithing would produce the Ichor Auroral, but clearly I am mistaken. So this isn't as dire as it seems with Sights and Sensations. I'll sort of show you why. Bells and Braziers. The fact that I've only got one of them suggests to me that probably the Ichor Auroral is available through something else. It may even be Rose. Oh, there's Watchman's Paradoxes. Okay. We're still waiting to level up Magaphine Mysteries. So based on what I see here, I think my best option here would be Sights and Sensations. So we'll kick out the Didumos and the Wind and Waiting. What I'm going to do here is I think if we go to the Gullscry workbench, we can use the Faust, we can use Sights and Sensations. I can then apply the Hurricane Lamp. That's going to be my source of light, reusable source of light specifically. Ah! That's not a tool. That makes things even more interesting. Okay, so I'm going to review my sky workbenches. So these don't take lights, so that's going to be a problem. The altars take lights, but they don't take tools. So what I was thinking of, we could do... actually, you know, we only need 10, so if I'm at 7, and the well, Hurricane Lamp is only worth 1. So what's my bright idea for the... what I was originally thinking was maybe we take the other Hurricane Lamp, which should be in storage here, but I'm short the memory. And unless I have... I mean, I can use a memory, that's not a problem. Okay, so Sky workstations. Definitely got a couple of altars that would count as sky things. These really like music. They don't really like other forms of work. Yeah, this is a non-starter. I think this has sky, but... This does, but again, unfortunately, it doesn't allow for light. Okay. Tricky. So, this isn't the end of the world. We'll just get ourselves... I mean, a storm is probably the easiest, but we'll read one of the books. So I'll take my medal here. We'll read a... I don't know, Apollo Marsyas or something like that. So let's do What Does Not Bark. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Oh, for heaven's sake. Not my finest run. Okay, Heart Unceasing. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Let's see what else we have. So I can keep going to Crowcross Sands. I can keep investigating the moor. There's not as much on the moor, but we can always just toss away the stuff that we don't need. Yeah, I think we'll continue as we have so far. We'll speed things up, and then as things come up, so I used to say, "My youth, the day is done, and so am I, but I've earned my pay." And the Velvet, an hour of secrecy, ignorance, privacy, shame. The Velvet has never encouraged insight, investigation, or worship. Even an image of her is unusual. The material is painted iron. The craftsmanship is commendable, but the artist's name has been obliterated by furious scratching and scoring. All right. So now we are going to investigate the paintings. So the first end. Let's go for, I think we can use core in this case. Investigate this object. The first end, a single candle burns against darkness. Its flame is the crescent moon. Signed, Nina Lagasse. I keep hearing things completing, but... Oh. Oh, I'm missing the alerts. Okay. If you can bear with me, I do apologize for the really slow start here. Okay. I'm going to skip over Apollo and Marsyas. I don't normally like skipping reading the texts, but I do need to catch up on a bit of lost time. Okay, we're going to take the Gather in Spring and chuck that immediately. Okay, on we go to... I'm also curious about something here. Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked with the money here. So, we want to make a auroral. Condense light to a rose fluid. Sights and sensations with scholar level sky plus light creates ichor auroral. And this is realistically here what this is it's just kind of a porphyryne pipeline. Another viper egg, a serpent in waiting. I think I've got enough serpents. Thank you very much, but... As you can see, we just have too much to do. Like, there are too many elements of the soul. There's just so much that we can do here. Okay, the wheel still turns. A shining spoked wheel with a vaguely organic look turns beneath a full moon that holds her finger to her lips. Signed, Nina Lagasse. So we have, I believe, seen this one before. Our benefactress. I'll use shopped on this. But I figure it doesn't hurt to run through what we have anyway. Alright, so this is an Incastum Terminale, one of the great inks. Use it with your journal to record a history and fulfill your reason for coming to Hush House, if you so choose. The Incastum Terminale of the Second History, it's the glowing crimson mauve of the Secret Histories. Porphyryne was venerated in secret by a confraternity of corresponding Cluniacs and Benedictines. Use an Incastum ink with your journal to make determinations and record histories. If the hours listen, the world changes. Porphyryne might also be used to compose a petition for the Labyrinth season, if you can provide at least 20 of Nock, Rose, or Moon, no Edge, Heart, or Winter at all, and suitable writing material. Our benefactress, evidently someone who donated to the Curia but preferred to remain anonymous. She's wearing a little silver brooch fashioned in the shape of a cat's head. So we did check out As Above, So Below. Crowcross Sands at high tide. The boy prays. Let's do a bargain. Bargain. The serpent laps at blood that drips beneath, from a sewn-closed mouth. Signed, Nina Lagasse. Leaves in the Wind we've done. Let's look at Chuck. Going to take the quartz chunk. We've seen this as well, so all this stuff's just going back to the sea. Cast an object into the sea, it will be lost, perhaps irretrievably. Use this to dispose of junk or danger. This we could actually turn into something like Perinculate, so I'm going to hang on to that. With keeper level rose, not sky, the ichor auroral can be, the ichor auroral is a precursor to the great ink porphyrin. Porphyrin? We can actually probably make that now, but I'm going to resist and wait for the morning. Chac, Valentine de Wolf's magnificent green cockatoo. The painting is signed by Valentine himself. Valentine, who had an interest in the religions of the New World, named this bird for the Mayan god of rain and thunder. We have the first answer. Fallen Dawn will come soon. So what we're going to do here is preserve the old moment. And right now we're kind of running out the clock for the season just so we can get the next visitor. The hope is that we actually get Numa, one of the rare cases where I've wanted Numa. Usually I'm dreading it because I'm not prepared, but right now Numa would give me a couple of things to work with. If it's not, the hope of course is that we get something... actually funny, I wasn't expecting... I'm on to the same event in my other playthrough. The first answer, a vast moth spirals towards a burning sun, alone in a star-speckled void. Signed, Nina Lagasse. I have to imagine that the intention, so far as I can tell, Towards a Fundamental Aesthetic 2nd edition does not talk about which of the 4 paintings Nina painted that convinced Cosley. And I imagine the fact that there are so many paintings by Nina, so for instance something like the first answer and the moth flying towards the sun in the void, I suspect probably the very deliberate effort here is to provide people multiple competing theories as to what the 4 are, because of course the idea here is that maybe there would be something revealed in terms of the lore, and because there's not enough to make sort of the firm determination, you're sort of left to draw your own conclusions. Something a little similar here with the chancel, right? We do not name these hours, but we acknowledge that together they are the chancel, the cruciate, and the road. And here, the chancel of the Abbey Church. The Church of the Unconquered Sun acknowledges only a handful of hours, the sun in rags or splendor, the Menascate, the Madrigad, the Watchman, and reluctantly the Wolf Divided. Any other so-called hours must be lesser powers, wicked impostors, or superstitions. So the Church denies 2 of the 3 hours of the chancel, and yet it's the chancel who are said to determine which of their peers qualify as hours. That's theology for you. Abbot Geoffrey decreed that all 3 should be venerated in this holiest of rooms. To avoid actual heresy, he would not permit any of the 3 to be named. That's theology too. So we have Moth, Winter, and Edge. We know one of them would be found among this group, but we don't have any indicator in terms of which is which. And then you can take a look in the Tree of Wisdoms offers something as well. So what's kind of fun about this, that's obviously kind of a bumper cars version of some of the ways that Book of Hours sort of plays around with the lore and some of your expectations. It's a feature I like of the game, but it's also one of these things that sometimes drives you a little crazy when you feel like you're onto something and the game inconveniently provides evidence to the contrary. Oh, I didn't realize I absolutely was not paying attention to what I should have been. Anyways, let's make some money, fixing and mending. Let's get to work. I think it's not a bad idea for me to keep making porphyrine. I should also probably start making a few of the other inks as well. We do have one of each of these, but we may want to make some. Want to make some extra. Oh, and I should be moving up. So we'll look at our benefactor. I think I'll skip over The Boy Prays, Crowcross Sands at High Tide, Leaves in the Wind, and As Above So Below. This is just because we've encountered these multiple times. So investigate the object. We're also at the end of spring. I was hoping that we would get to the end of spring. We would get through spring on this play session, or like basically get into summer and see the next arrival, but I spent too much time figuring out where I was. So I know this is a little bit more idle, and the gale is helpful here. We'll actually turn that into Ichor. We'll turn that into Ichor Auroral right away. I could have used any element of the soul for that, actually, but... Okay, the mackerel has its own use, so we'll put that in the pantry. Quartz junk, a little bit less. I mean, it does have rose, so I can't completely complain about it, but I just haven't had that much use for it. I am still inclined to search around, though, so we'll use preliminal meter for this. And then we'll use our tryst for Crowcross Sands. Our benefactor, evidently someone who donated to the Curia but preferred to remain anonymous. He's wearing a little silver brooch fashioned in the shape of a fox's head. So I wondered if the cat and the fox might have sort of a tie to the dancer legacy, but I think there are some stronger connections to that particular legacy in some of the books. So I don't know if that's the best one for me to run with. Now, I don't think we've seen Departure yet. We did just check out Chak. Okay. And because we have enough elements of the soul for this, we're just going to keep earning money at the Sweet Bones. I'm not going to bother restoring them. What does not bark? Alexander Probst writes warily of Calyptra, a law or principle or society which prevents the dissemination of dangerous knowledge. Calyptra, like the planet that occludes the star, or the Doylean dog that fails to bark, can be identified only by its absence. Even the name, I think, must be a mask. Calyptra is said to make exceptions specifically for the libraries of the Watchman's Tree. Does it make those exceptions so the Hours can make use of them? And departure. Here Valentine has painted gulls migrating across a darkening sea. Each winter, the black-backed gulls would leave Brandkrug for warmer climes. Valentine would command a candlelit dinner on the beach in their honor, with dancing and drumming, though he would never attend, only watch approvingly from the Gullscry Tower. Okay, let's move on. The Watcher. Investigate the object. You won't use this up or consume it by doing this. One funny thing about well, I'll talk about it later. There were a couple of things that I was a little curious about in basically in response to something that happened in the beta. I'll save it for another time though. Okay, another Ichor Auroral. We've also got the memory that we needed, so we can move on to make another one right away. And we'll read another book relevant to the... Alright, The Watcher, another of Valentine's paintings, a barn owl he nursed back to health. Owls, of course, are associated with the horned axe, but only one with her... Owls, of course, are associated with the horned axe, but only one with one of her blades. And I think that's it for these rooms. I don't think there's that... Or, well, we can take a look at Valentine's Memorial. I know it's not exactly art, but feels right to do. Okay, sea-strewn, salt-snared stuff. Now, I'm going to keep Ava's locks. I know we have a whole lot of it, but this is actually something that will be helpful before too long. Assuming I can find a place for it. Oh, for heaven's sake, I forgot to put the Fusine in. Alright, and it's always fun to get the abandoned packages, so this is one of the reasons why I keep going to the... why I keep going out to the field. Or the moor, rather. Okay. Trist... More... Oh wait, yes, it would be Inks of Power. So what else? Oh no, it's not Fost. It's Vet. Aha, I'm one short. I feel like I should be able to do better, so maybe we don't do this at the altar. Again, there's nothing stopping me from using the FET here. I just feel like there may be other opportunities. So maybe the first thing I want to do is check out the workbenches to make sure that there isn't anything that I can use with Rose. I don't think so, but I don't want to rule it out. Actually, I guess the other thing I should look for would be scale. So this has scale, but I wouldn't be able to add fet. This would allow moth, but well, it does also allow scale, so this would give me... Well, it doesn't give me the tool, though. Okay, no huge surprises there. This doesn't work at all. Yeah, I need to actually earn my ink here. Alright, well this still won't be all that difficult to do. I could also use a memory if I add something with Rose, but for now I'll just use my surplus fet. Alright, and I know I'm over time. Let's see if we can make a little more progress through the day before I wrap up. Okay, Valentine's Memorial. Valentine died 2 centuries ago. This stone is much newer, more like 2 decades old. Brian Levinson, 9th librarian of the house, often spoke of his sympathy for Valentine DeWolf. He commissioned this memorial stone in 1914, but by the time it arrived, he had volunteered as a medical officer in the Great War. He never returned, he never saw this memorial, and it became his own. Carrying on. We've finished this, so let's take a look inside. Okay, can't move any of these. I'm a little reluctant to move up here, so we're gonna take a look at all these other rooms for items. I will investigate these, but later. And again, I'm a little conscious of the time, so if we can't... I'll give it a couple more minutes. If we can't get through the day, we'll at least get very close. Those Who Do Not Sleep, the Mystic Broadnax, discusses the origins of the Sister Witch and of the Thunderskin. The Sister Witch were born in 2 wombs, one poor, one rich, across the sea. The sister was stronger in the aspect of heart, and so their survival was assured. The witch was stronger in the aspect of grail, and so they were not satisfied. When the Sister and Witch came west, the Red Grail permitted their ascension, but then grew jealous of their power. It lured a great musician into the ranks of its names, and caused him to be reborn from blood as a heart power, so that the Grail might maintain dominion there also, but its victory is not assured. And Alice licit tibi non licit. To us it is permitted, to you it is not permitted, the motto of the Suppression Bureau. The story goes that Governor Collars used to keep another sign in his office with the motto of the Nocturnal Branch, the Bureau's predecessor, Radix Malorum Libertas Est. If someone complained about Bureau policies, he would point to the sign to remind them that things could be worse. Eventually, it was pointed out to him that the root of evils is liberty was an undiplomatic motto to display in a prison, and he grumpily retired the sign. Okay, that's actually a really good one to finish on, and I'm about 10 minutes over anyway. So we will deal with the second half of the day on Wednesday. We will cross over into the summer. We'll see what the visitors bring. If we don't get too much activity for the next season, I will consider more extreme measures to get what I want. But let's see what the season brings before we go too far down that path. The thing is that I don't actually mind looking through the house. We've more or less gone through the art, and then we can start going through some of the furniture and things like that. So there are things for me to do, although I should maybe be spending a little bit more time actually interacting with the various stories and such. So for those of you who do not care for the lore, my apologies. We will be moving on to something before too long. But I did want to at least get a few of these others taken care of. So, Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.